tried to free your mind, Nia, but I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it. You have to let it all go, Nia. Fear, doubt, and disbelief. Free your mind.
This is the Mind is Mine podcast. What it do, everybody, ladies and gentlemen? How are y'all doing? Episode 32 of the Mind is Mine podcast. I got my man, my mellow, my friend, my manager, and also my mentor as well. How you doing, Clint?
Dude, I'm outstanding.
Yes, sir.
I'm pretty jazzed by that introduction.
Of course. You deserve it too. And you got the coffee ready, so we're gonna be up for a while.
My first podcast ever, I wanted to be turned up.
Yes, sir. Of course.
I don't want to be yawning on the podcast from my man Houston.
Well, you always bring that energy to the meetings and every time I see you. So,
dude, I feed off yours.
Yes, sir. It's fitting.
We're a powerful couple.
Yes, indeed. We're not official just yet. We're getting there. We're to the talking stages, but
absolutely.
But how you doing, man? Thank you for coming.
Dude, thank you for the invite.
Of course.
When you first floated that to me, like, hey, do you want to do my podcast? I was like, wait, you got a podcast?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm always enthralled, like, first of all, you got a podcast, that's cool. But I'm always the guy that's intrigued, like, what do you have to do to produce that thing? So,
yes.
like, all of the editing, like, it's not just being able to talk and communicate. Number one, finding an idea that you want to talk about.
Yes, indeed.
Right? So, like, having a direction, a purpose, and having you narrow that down, but then also build the skill set behind it. I was like, let me go see what this is all about.
Of course.
Because, like, the number of people that have come to me and said, we need to have a podcast. Like, I don't know, probably 30 or 40 people.
Yeah, everybo's wanting to start a podcast now.
Do you know how many people have actually made a podcast?
Was it me?
One.
Yes.
So,
yes.
like, yeah.
Yes.
So that is something like when people, people have I think most people have a lack of self-awareness. Like, what is the thing? What is the purpose, vocation, however you label it? Like, what's the thing that I want to do with my time?
Yes, sir.
But then there's a filter there because it's hard to figure that out and isolate who you are, what you want to do, how you want to spend your time. But then comes the hard part of actually getting traction and doing the thing.
Yes.
So like my sister is dating a young man and he wanted to get into real estate. And same pattern. 15 or 20 people over the last 4 years have said, I'm going to get into real estate. So when he told me this, I'm like, oh, bro, like I've heard this before.
Yeah. And there's a lot of hoops and a lot of things that you have, a lot of paperwork, a lot of money that needs to be spent to get that license as well.
Yeah. And of all the people that said they were going to do it, he's the one that did it.
Nice. And
he's been doing it for a year and a half. And actually last year, his first full year, he was actually in the top 70% of real estate agents in the country.
Sick.
Sold
Congrats to him.
5 houses in his first year. So, like, that ability to me is attractive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't really matter what the thing is, but, like, if you know your thing and then you do your thing, like, I kind of want to come along for the ride.
Of course. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for that.
Yeah. It's an outstanding trait, man, so.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I mean, you're a conversationalist too, as well. So you're a perfect guy to have on the podcast. So
yeah.
I know you got a lot of experience that you don't mind sharing at all. So you've always been super open and honest. So that's the type of people that I want to have on the podcast. So, but yeah, how's everything in life with you? I feel like we haven't talked as much because, I'm busy with work. You're busy with work.
I'm busy working your butt off every day. That's
yes,
what
sir.
it is.
Indeed. And I'm catching up with you. So
yeah. So man, life is crazy. It's funny how life just has I view it like a staircase. Mm-hmm. Like if you do it right, if you're moving forward, you're going to be moving up. And as you go up, you kind of revisit the same lessons over. Like, if you think about
Okay, cool. I was just making sure you were in the shot. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, make sure.
Oh, yeah. You're all good.
But, like, so recently, like, I'm kind of taking on more of a director, president role at work.
Yes, sir.
And, like, I went from being the best sales guy to I'm now the worst president. Mm-hmm. So, like, there's no room for ego. I can't say, like, I can't come to work every day going, I'm the best anymore.
Right.
I'm now the worst. Mm-hmm. I took that step up, and now is the process of battling that daily thing of fear, insecurity, and just kind of surrendering to the fact that you don't have control over everything. Mm-hmm. and, kind of bringing some sort of rhythm to that. And then as you get good at it, how do you make progress in that? And then who knows, might take 6 months, might take 6 years, and then will come the next step.
Yes, sir.
So we're doing that. And then, about my ex-wife passed away. And so
Yes, sir.
The lessons in leadership that I've had for myself and that I have practiced passing on to guys like you, like those have all come in very useful as my 18 and 21-year-old, soon to be 22-year-old daughter.
Happy belated birthday.
Yeah. So, it's passing those on to her. Actually, that's probably been the most gratifying thing. Like when somebody passes away, you have all these things that you got to do, legal documents and shut off the power here and get the house listed. And then you have to deal with emotions here and deal with your own emotions. And there was a moment there where I go, God has trained me for this. This is literally what I do every day at work. It's just prioritizing tasks, and then none of them are overwhelming. The problem is there's 100 of them. And so going through the 100 tasks and then keeping emotionally available to the people that you're doing the tasks with, it was like, I've literally trained for this. Now, it doesn't make it easy.
Of course.
But it was reassuring. It's like, oh, this is just life. This is just life, and maintaining some sort of emotional stability, and then allowing your stability to provide something for those around you to kind of hold on to and provide a measure of stability for them.
Yes, of course.
So doing that, and then mapping out 2026. How do things get bigger for Mr. Houston Hines?
Yes, sir.
What do we do for him, and how do we keep him around for the next 20 years? So every day it's new.
Of course.
Every day it's new, and every day it's the same.
Well, I'm glad that you brought up leadership, because that's actually, when I envision you, I feel like every conversation that we've had is always tied into leadership and the importance of it and how we can continue to grow as a leader, whatever position that we're in. And I'm glad that you brought up the staircase, because it really brings up the relationship between success and failure and how they're one rather than opposing forces going against each other, because you can succeed to the highest level and then you realize that there's a higher mountain for you to climb, or a higher level that you can achieve, and you have to climb all the way back down and go through the same task again.
Yep.
So how do you stay focused as a leader when you know that, okay, that there's always going to be a bigger task in front of me? How do you stay regulated into the task that you have now, and also prepare yourself for the next task to come? Because a lot of times we can't really map that out. Sometimes it happens right in front of us.
There's a lot of different ways to approach that question. I think, Nietzsche said man can endure anyhow as long as he knows his why. Simon Sinek would say that all great leaders start with why. Like, the why is everything.
Of course.
If the why is just that I'm going to do this thing to impress my mom and dad, like if I'm just going to do this thing to try to get the girl, or I'm going to, your why has to be a long vision. And I think that for me, my mindset really switched, because you and I both played sports, right?
Yes, sir.
When you play sports, the why is pretty clear. Like, you want to win.
Yeah.
Right? You get all these latent benefits of, like, you make friends with teammates, you have shared experiences, you get in better, maybe you have a latent benefit of getting notoriety because you're really good at it. But, like, at the heart of it, you play because you want to win. Right? So, like, that's your why. Everything else comes along with that. Well, in leadership, what's the why? What is the why? Like, that's the first thing you have to define. And I think for me, rebuilding my life at age 38, my why was I just need to be a better me. Like, I know that if I'm a better me, I will make better connections. If I make better connections, money and all that will come after. But if you recognize that the why is that I just want to be better for the sake of being better, to have a better understanding, so that the people that come after me, which is, why I've always shared every mistake I've ever made willingly with anybody around me. If I can save you the trouble and give you the perspective that I had to get by touching a hot stove, well, that gives my mistake meaning. It no longer becomes a thing of shame.
Yes.
It becomes a thing of honor. That I screwed up here, but I saved you from that. So it makes it meaningful.
Of course.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that thing of always going to the next thing, because it never stops. this idea, I don't know if it was sold to me. I don't know if it's endemic in our culture. I don't know if I just misled myself, but the idea that I'm going to go to school, I'm going to get a degree, and that everything's going to be okay.
Yes.
And that was a complete lie.
Of course. For a lot of people, especially today.
Yeah. And it was just an utter fabrication that I got a degree, I got a good job, and then I took my foot off the gas. I was just coasting, expecting to get better at life just by going through life. Mm-hmm. It was completely unintentional. And it was 6 years into my career that I realized I'm worse now through just mental erosion mm-hmm. than I was when I started. Mm-hmm. The experience has not made me better. I've actually just forgotten most of what I learned in college because I did not continue to learn.
Yes, sir.
And that's a scary thing.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't take long to extrapolate that out and go, wow, in 10 years I'll be obsolete. Maybe not even 10. And it was a reset where I got a chance to restart, redo, and start with something that I enjoyed that sort of scratched that itch in my brain that made me want to go back regardless of pay to figure something out. But yeah, I think to answer your original question, I think the why. And so, if you start with that, if you coach someone, the why is the most important thing because it's not getting talked into it. It's not material things. You know that material things are just a dopamine response. And every time you get a dopamine response, the next time you go back to that well, it's less of a response. Mm-hmm. Same as drugs, sex, alcohol, gambling.
It all erodes.
Mm-hmm. It's a downward spiral. So there has to be something in you that drives you back to that thing to go, okay, I won that battle. Here's what's next. Let's go.
Agreed. Yeah. And that can be tough, especially when you talk about the upbringing of going to college, using the foundation that the system or even your family or maybe even your friends have given you. You realize that you have to build upon that foundation, and that takes work day in and day out. Mm-hmm. And you have to go on your own quest internally and externally to figure out what that why is. And that's the hardest part because especially if you're getting all this advice and all your tidbits from the world around you, it can be hard for you to come within yourself and figure out what direction do I want to go in my life? What are my interests? What are my hobbies? And a lot of that too, it can put you in the face of that darkness that you have within yourself too. And sometimes you have to admit that, okay, I haven't been doing this right. I've been searching for comfortability rather than adventure and things that will push me to my greatest limits. And a lot of that is the uncomfortable task.
Yeah, it's something that stood out about you from the first time I met you. Remember that first conversation that we had at the gym when I first met you?
Yes, sir.
And then it was a follow-up meeting where I was like, hey, dude, I'd like to work with you if you would have me. But there's a level of just natural intrigue that you have about life, willing to ask questions. And I don't know how to manufacture that in people. Mm-hmm. I wish I could.
You can.
I'll be honest, the only thing that made me ask those questions was suffering.
Yes.
It was that darkness of going through day after day going, is this really all it's going to be? Not being mentally intrigued about anything in life, that I'm just going to work to get a paycheck, to pay my rent, to pay my bills. And, it was, I would call it drudgery. Mm-hmm. But to be able to ask those questions, I would say, because you're mid-20s, right?
Yes, sir, 27.
Yeah, so you're a good 10 years ahead of scale.
Thank you.
So to hear that coming from you, most people as I've gotten older, because I'm 48 now, most people will begin to call me, my friends, associates, they will start to call me somewhere in their late 30s. And I'll say to them, do you want me to tell you what's coming, or do you want to call me when it happens? And they're never really quite sure what I'm talking about. But right at age 40 is the place where you take an account and you go, I haven't done anything. And now I'm facing the back half of my life and I have nothing to build from. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a natural thing in our culture that, we're raised as kids. There's no rite of passage to adulthood. There's no magic moment where everyone in the community realizes you're now an adult.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. That is true.
So when I was a kid, it was getting your driver's license was kind of the moment, but it wasn't official. Of course, you turn 18 and you can buy cigarettes and you can vote.
Now I think more it's like the 21, turning 21, the partying and
Well,
all
but
that.
now drinking's not as big of a thing. If you look at the young
Yes, I
kids
did see
coming
that.
up, like drinking's not really a thing anymore, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
But like I counseled my kids, I go, we don't have a rite of passage. And in our culture, you go through your teens, you're expected to be an adult, but you're never really held to that standard by your parents or anyone.
Right.
And so then you get into your 20s, and then your 20s is supposed to be a decade of exploration and experimentation. Now, unfortunately, most people use that for drugs, sex, and things that end up getting them in trouble.
The college lifestyle too.
Yeah. And where you should be experimenting economically and artistically and getting to know yourself and your skill set better and finding your passion, most people don't do that until about age 32. And at 32, people realize, and this is just in American culture, you go through your 30s realizing you're pretending to be an adult, that you don't really know why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then comes the midlife crisis. And then people go one of two directions. They either deal with it in a healthy way and they get busy, or they go the unhealthy way and things crash. And you can see it play out pattern after pattern, life after life. That's just what we manufacture. That's our system. So to hear you having those conversations 10 years ahead of schedule is a good thing. And the more that you can have those conversations with people in your age group, or frankly, people 20 years ahead of you, is going to be a healthy thing.
Of course.
Because those questions have to be asked and they have to be answered. The tricky thing, no one can answer them for you. Right?
Yeah, and then you don't want to get to the place where life answers that for you, and it may not be an answer that you want to hear at all because you didn't prepare yourself for that.
Well, it's scary.
Yes,
It's scary. I'll point this phenomenon out, and I know it because I lived it. So when you grow up as a child pretending to be an adult, right? Like physically, I'm physically mature. I'm physically a man, but mentally, I'm
the man-child type of psychology.
Yeah.
Yes,
And it happens with females too, but I'm going to speak to the male part. When I went to go buy a car or make my first car purchase, like after I got my degree and my job, or when I bought my first home, or where should I live, or any of that, there was a part of me that would call and check with my parents. Hey, is this a good idea? I've never done this before. And secretly what I was doing was I was outsourcing responsibility. I was looking for them to tell me if it was a good idea so that if it went bad, mentally I could blame them. I wasn't really wanting to take responsibility. And like as I go out and I do these home inspections for work, I see it all the time. And it makes me feel a lot less ashamed of myself. It's just a natural thing that you have people in your 20s looking for guidance from their parents because we've never really had to answer those questions on our own. Is this a good house? Do I want to buy this house? I don't know. Buy the house and live with the decision. But that is so scary for kids who have never gone through their teenage years being treated like an adult.
yes,
So like I told my kids, I'm like, treat yourself internally like an adult now. We wait for people to signal to us that we're an adult so that we can start acting like an adult, where really we have to treat ourselves like an adult. Once we start to treat ourselves like an adult, we will naturally start to make adult decisions, and then others will treat us like an adult.
yeah. That's building the trust in yourself.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I struggled with, especially coming out of college, dropping out of college and
Of course.
and finding trust in myself because I went to institutions, I went to my family, I went to teachers, I went to friends. And now that I'm in a point where I have to start from scratch of what direction do I really want to go in, now I have to forge my own path and make my own experiences, and I have to go through the fire, and that's very intimidating.
It is.
And a lot of the experiences that I've been through, I mean, I went to Puerto Rico and came back in 2.5 months and got to a point where I thought I was going to be stuck there for a little bit. And I found my way back, thankfully with my family too as well. But I look back on that experience and I know there's so many people that I'm around that have never been to anything close to that, or the shock factor of what that is. And a lot of people play it safe. A lot of people want to be in that cocoon, that box. Brought up the man-child psychology. I watched a video about it, and people that are in that man-child type of state are living like they're still in the womb, essentially.
In a way.
Yes, and they're seeking for the nourishment when they don't know how to build that nourishment within themselves, or at least have the tools to figure out a way, how can I nourish myself and put myself around people that will help nourish me too as well, rather than running to people all the time to do that for me.
That's a scary thing as well, deciding, like, because you're born.
Yes.
You're put in a school. You naturally make friends with people in that school. Those tend to be the people that you become friends with, play sports with. There comes a point, that point of adulthood, where you go, I have to meet new people, if for no other reason than to compare them to the people I've naturally spent my whole life around, like high school and right after high school. Like, are these the people that are best to be around me? Mm-hmm. Right? And you begin evaluating that and upgrading your friend circle. Doesn't mean you necessarily have to leave lifelong friends behind, but it certainly doesn't mean that just because you've been my friend since second grade, it doesn't mean you're the one I'm going to go to for advice.
Yes, sir.
Like, we can be friends, but rule one is always take advice from people who have what you want. Well, unless you're one of the rare folks where everyone you met in grade school has everything that you want, like, you're going to go have to build relationships with new people, earn trust with them, and get a wider range of advice on things. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, but yeah, being able to go out and then suddenly go, man, we've been friends since the third grade, but, like, you know, maybe I don't want to take financial advice from you. Maybe I don't want to take career advice from you. Maybe I don't want to take relational advice from you. Maybe you meet new friends and realize your friends from grade school, middle school, high school, maybe they're not that good of friends. Mm-hmm. But you never knew because you never had anything to compare it to.
Right.
And that's a scary thing.
Indeed. And so what was your experience like when you had to start completely from scratch? And what age was that?
38.
38. So when you're starting completely from scratch at 38, what did that path look like? Because that's very different than somebody like me getting out of college and still being in my 20s. And
yeah, so in mine it turned out to be a blessing. So in my way, I don't know how much of the story you want to go into, so I'll just kind of summarize it and say
however much you're willing to share.
I mean, I'm willing to share as much as possible. I just want to hold your viewers' attention. So my story was one of, I grew up in a small town. Without getting into the nuances of small town life, I wanted to leave. Mm-hmm. In a small town, you are put in a hierarchy.
What town was that?
It's called Palmyra. 750 people, Central Illinois, farm town, USA. My football field, my school had about 500 acres of corn on 3 sides.
Oh, wow.
We had one stoplight in the county. And the only reason that town had a stoplight was because that was a town where you took your driver's test, and they wanted you to see an actual stoplight in case you went to the city. Mm-hmm. But, you know, wonderful place. I didn't fit in. I always say I'm the failed country boy. I don't know how to fish. I don't know how to hunt. Like, I was always a little more artsy. I talked a lot. Mm-hmm. But the way I grew up, I was naturally an outsider. So, like, most of the kids in my class were at least a year older than me. So I was kind of always on the outside, and where you get plugged into the hierarchy is where you stay, and you can watch it. Like, it's hard to break out, and, like, if you're deemed a follower early in life, it's hard to change that and get the old leaders to accept you as their leader later in life.
Indeed.
Right? So I was like, I want out of this. So I left town and I went to college in St. Louis, and I enjoyed the anonymity. But going from a tightly controlled upbringing where conflict resolution was not my strength, I grew up in a home where we were very much a work hard, play hard, and white knuckle through disagreements. I took that tension, and through my exploration at college, but experimenting with alcohol, mm-hmm. I found that didn't work for me. The built up tension in me caused me to be a very aggressive drinker.
Yeah.
Not drinker, but I became aggressive when I drank. I thought I was funny. No one else thought I was mm-hmm. funny. That kind of guy that when he drinks is like, ooh, that guy's aggressive. Mm-hmm. So I let that go, and then, I moved on to other things, and those other things sort of stunted my emotional and professional development, right? Whenever I would feel stressed, I could placate, I could manage my emotions from the outside. So I never learned to manage my emotions from the inside. And that came to an ultimate conclusion at age 38, where I'd pushed it about as far as I could. And like I said, I really hadn't grown or matured much up until age 38. I always had the best of intentions. I always worked hard. There was never a time where I wasn't a party guy. I went to work, I went to the gym, and I wanted to be a good dad and a good husband. But I had no idea. The best way I could describe it is, have you ever shot a bow and arrow?
A long time ago, but yes.
Okay, well, everything with shooting a bow and arrow has to do with how you sight it in. Mm-hmm. And if you have it sighted wrong, it doesn't matter how hard you try, you'll never hit the target. Mm-hmm. And that's the way my life felt. Like, I kept trying to hit the target, but no matter how hard I tried, it was always just a little off. And it just caused turmoil. So at 38, my life kind of burned to the ground. I ended up getting in trouble. I got put on probation, lost my career. My license was in jeopardy. I ended up having to go to probation in St. Louis County, and got a divorce, lost access to my kids. And that was a very humbling moment, because at that moment, I said to myself, literally, I go, this was my best effort. This was, I didn't fail because I was lazy. I didn't fail because I was malicious. Like, this was my best effort, and it has come to nothing. Mm-hmm. And oddly enough, I found that as an encouragement. Going through all those years, I go, if everything I have done has led to zero, well, then logically, anything I change will give me a better result than what I've been getting.
Right.
So there's nowhere to go but up. Mm-hmm. And I had to consciously choose that. I'm grateful that that's the thought that popped into my head. I mean, it could have just as easily been one of despair, victimhood, whatever. But
depression,
I'm like,
all that.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. And for me, being raised in a Christian home, Christianity was programmed into me. And that was a process wherein, from my perspective, God stripped all that away.
Yes.
And I'm going to dumb this down, but God's saying, bro, I want to know you, and I'm going to introduce myself to you one step at a time. I just need you to show up.
I love that.
Yeah. So do you know the story of Jonah and the whale?
Oh.
How about Job?
Yes, Job. Where he worked, he was a hard worker and everything, but he lost everything.
He lost everything.
Yes.
And Job, in the story, I don't think it's an actual person. It's more of a parable meant to illustrate a point. But Job was an honorable man. He was a righteous man.
Yes.
And he was tested. And he was tested to, just for the sake of, like, in the story, the devil and God are going, this guy only loves you because he has a good life. He wouldn't love you if he had a bad life. Mm-hmm. And so God goes, okay, test him. Let's see. Maybe you're right. And they test Job. And throughout it, as things are stripped away, the earthly pleasures that he has, the honor, the money, the family, as that is stripped away, he maintains his attitude and his love for God. And I thought about, as everything was stripped away from me, that it just popped into my head. I go, if he can do it, I can do it. And so I go, God, whatever you got for me, I go, my plan and my effort has ended in failure. So if you're real, if you really want to partner with me, then I'll do this and I'll smile the whole way. But like, whatever you put in front of me, I will just do, and I will do it my best, and we'll see where we end up. Mm. And so I remember when I got into trouble, because they actually sent me a postcard and said I was being charged. So I had to go through process. It took a year to get into probation, and I couldn't work. So the only job I could get was door-to-door sales. And I remember being so excited that somebody would hire me. If you can imagine being excited about doing door-to-door sales. Mm-hmm. My interview was a full-day interview. There was 8 inches of snow on the ground, and they took me out to a neighborhood. We knocked on doors. And we came back. I told them what was up, and they go, okay, start Monday. And on Monday, I walked into that office, and they do a morning training. And on the whiteboard there was the words, everyone is exactly where they deserve to be. Now, if you know that business, you know that those those employees are ranked based on their sales.
Yes.
So for them, that meant, hey, everybody is ranked based on the number of sales you get. But for me in that position, I looked at that and I could see God talking to me. And I'm like, okay, if this is what you got, I'm just going to smile. And I ended up getting promoted in record time. I set the record for the quickest promotion. You had to go out and make a certain number of sales, and I did it faster than anybody. I ended up being ranked 12th in the nation within about 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was good. It wasn't good money. But that is where I found what you would call like self-improvement books, or like reading books to get the answers to questions that you're struggling with.
Yes.
Right.
You're actually putting in the effort to understand yourself.
Yeah. The first book that somebody handed me was John C. Maxwell, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Personal Growth. And the first chapter is called Intentionality. And I read that first chapter and I went, this is me. I've been living life hoping to get better accidentally. And I go, all I have to do is the same way that you would get better at baseball, or the same way that you would get better at golf, or better at football, or better at basketball. Like, man, I look at my game and my conditioning is off. I need to work on my conditioning.
Yeah, you can't get better by circumstance.
No. Like, you literally break down the components of your game and you work on each one individually. And so I started doing that. And then from there, it caught fire. Like, I couldn't get enough books. I couldn't write. I still have a file in my phone of all the lessons. I try to take one key thing from every book I've ever read as a coaching point, so that when I meet people like you that want advice, like, it's not my advice. It's just something I encountered was useful to me, and I'll give it to you.
Yeah, everything is shared at the end of the day.
So we did that. Ended up going through probation, and I had to change jobs because a sales-only commission job doesn't track your hours.
Yes.
And in probation, I had to log hours. So I got into trouble for not having hours. And when you get in trouble in probation, they just send you to St. Louis County for 24 hours. So I'm in jail, St. Louis County, downtown Clayton. They've taken the laces out of my shoes. I'm sitting there in holding. And all the ruffians that come in during the weekends, the drunks and the whatever, like there's probably 80 people in there. Rough crowd. TVs are behind bulletproof glass. And this lady looks at me and she's like, hey, you're in the program, aren't you? Meaning the probation program. She goes, I saw you plead in a couple of weeks ago. She goes, how you doing? I go, well, I'm in jail. That's how I'm doing. She goes, how's your work going? And I go, not good. I'm doing a commission only. They don't track my hours. And so nobody believes me that I'm working, all these hours. She goes, well, come work for me. I was like, what do you do? She's like, I run a Jimmy John's. She's like, I'll make sure you get your hours. It's $15 an hour.
The one you were just talking about?
Yes. So I'm like, all right, I'll be there on Monday.
What was your favorite sandwich?
Ooh, still the club tuna, bro. You want to know the truth? I hate tuna. I hate soy sauce, and I hate celery. And that's the only thing in that club tuna. But if you put them together, it's magnificent.
Sometimes you got to mix things together for it to work.
Synergy, baby.
Yes, sir.
Culinary synergy.
Yes, sir. Speaking of that, I'm got to tell my mom that I won't be at dinner today. She was asking me. No, I won't. Okay.
Okay.
We're good. Just don't want to make her upset,
Right? So just to recap, at age 38, life burns. I got nothing but my little red pickup. I had a couch, a TV, and my mattress. I get hired into Jimmy John's. And she's like, dude, just show up. And again, story of Job. I'm just going to smile, and I'm just going to do the best I can. Well, it turns out being the best delivery driver on the night shift from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. ain't that hard. Pretty low bar to clear, but I did it.
5 p.m. to 5 a.m.
5 a.m. Taking care of the bar crowd as they leave the bars and they're drunk and they're getting home and they want a sandwich. That's who I'm delivering to.
Yes.
Drunk people tip good, so it was a blessing.
I don't think a lot of them know how much they're tipping.
No. If you can put up with them, they'll tip you. So I'm doing that, and because I held that store down and did a great job, I actually broke up a car robbery there. I have a selfie with a guy that was breaking into a car, and I got him down, and I was like, take a selfie, bitch. And, the cops came and got him, and he was a delivery driver. They were trying to steal his car.
Our hero.
Yeah. So, but because I did that, they gave me preferred shifts over in Brentwood. there's a 2 or 3 hour window every day at lunch where all the businesses order these great big Jimmy John's.
Yeah, the corporate hour and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can make $50 an hour for 3 hours. Like they would have 8 and 10 delivery drivers just shuffling.
Yeah, that's
And
nice.
I would go over and do that. And one day I delivered a sandwich to the industrial court over there. I walked in. They had an office dog. I pet the dog. I said hi. I didn't think anything about it. I went in. The guy tipped me $5. I was like, awesome. You guys have a great day. And as I walked out to my car, this great big guy followed me out. And he goes, hey, do you like working at Jimmy John's? And I was like, yeah, dude. I was like, it's awesome. He's like, do you want to come work for me? And I was like, yep. Because at that point, like when you're in probation, I had applied for 60 jobs.
Yeah.
And I didn't even get a call back, dude. Not an interview, not an email, nothing. Nobody wanted me. Mm-hmm. But I go, what do you do? And he goes, well, we deliver furniture. And I go, well, that's an upgrade from sandwiches, so I'll do it. He goes, come in on Monday and we'll talk. So I came in and I told him the whole story. And he described his business to me. And I said, I can't work here. He goes, what do you mean? I go, well, I have all of these group counseling things I have to go to. I have probationary meetings. I have court every Friday. I get randomly drug tested for all these things. I go, I can't go out on a delivery truck. You're not going to reroute a delivery truck for me to make my appointments. And he goes, yeah, this isn't going to work, is it? I go, no. I go, but dude, thank you. He goes, okay, well, keep us in mind and we'd love to have you. And so I went back and I was sad, but it still felt good to have somebody see worth in you when nobody else did.
Yes.
Because like when things went down, they put me on channel 2, 4, 5. I was in the paper. I was online. I was on Facebook. I hit in a time in the news cycle where I was the story for like 2 weeks. And so I went back and I was, at that point, I had gotten my stuff straight. I was doing really well. I was recovering. I was working through my old emotional burdens. I was sober. And they came to me in the program and they said, hey, Clint, we're going to let you and one other guy graduate early. Like, you're doing fine. You need to get out of here and make room for more people that can use this program. And I was like, that's awesome. They're like, this never happens, but we're going to let you and Rich graduate early. Bet. Let's go. Let's get out. Let's get on.
Nice.
And so I had pled in with Rich. And I didn't know him because he always had different classes than me, but we went, and our graduation was 6 p.m. on a Saturday night, I believe. Saturday or Sunday night. 6th floor of the Clayton County Courthouse. Nobody is there. Like, this is a program for people that have burned every bridge.
Yeah.
So people in the program are there, and the people who work the program are there, and that's it. And there's me, Rich, and 3 other people graduating. And I look in the back of the room, and there's that giant dude. He was mentoring Rich. Mm-hmm. So if Rich and I hadn't both been allowed to graduate early, I never would have met Matt again. But I walked up to Matt, and I go, hey, Matt. I go, I think it's more than a coincidence that I've met you here.
Of course.
I think I should probably come see you on Monday.
That was good alignment.
Yeah. So, like, for me, that's God putting people, like, that's God honoring his side of the promise of, like,
Yes.
dude, just show up. Don't complain. Don't curse me. All of this is for a purpose. I'm exercising you to get your soul in shape. And so I went, and I started slinging furniture at age 38. And not a tough gig. That's not the age at which you want to go to a moving company.
Yeah, of course.
But I did it, and same thing. I promoted very quickly. A lot of lessons learned. That's where I call that my second stint of college. That was my second degree, where I would work all day loading trucks, and then I would just sit and look at the computer and go, what does all this mean? What do the numbers mean? When they talk about labor percentage, what are they talking about? And I went through and I did that, and ultimately that business ran its course. And that's when I moved over and started doing disinfecting for Matt at Pure Pest. Mm-hmm. And replicated that journey here, just looking around going, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
What is actually going on? Like, what I found is if you learn the terminology, you can learn the game. The terminology is what stumbles people,
Yes.
They don't know what labor percentage means. They don't know what return on investment is, things like that. Mm-hmm. But that was the path from age 38 to 48. It took 10 years to completely rebuild a life. When my ex passed away, my ex scheduled our divorce proceedings on Valentine's Day. Like, that's how our marriage ended.
Yeah.
She was not happy with me for good reason. But when she passed and was making plans to pass things on, and they asked her, who do you want to be responsible for the estate and for the kids? She goes, I'm happy with Clint doing it. I'm good with that. And that meant the world. Mm-hmm. Like, that was, I remember starting out, I would drive an hour over there just to cut her grass and say, hey, I'm trying to make things right.
Yeah.
Like, I would drive over. I remember I built their, what did I build? Their trampoline, you know, and like trying to make amends any way I could without causing problems. Mm-hmm. But it was a 10-year process, and it's just a long process of showing up every day and smiling and consciously choosing to be grateful for what's in front of you. Because even if it's hard, it's there to teach you something.
Yes, sir.
Like working out, like, you don't get stronger by going to the gym and taking it easy. Mm-hmm. You get stronger at the gym by making yourself deliberately uncomfortable.
The friction.
Mm-hmm. And then you might be a little sore afterwards, but then if you keep coming back and you keep stacking those days, 6 months, 6 years will go by, and then you run into somebody that used to know you, and they go, oh my God, what have you been doing? Mm-hmm. You've changed. And that's the most gratifying thing. Indeed.
When everybody else can see that change and the work that you put in. And even though you're not looking for that, the fact that somebody sees you is a sign of respect.
It's incredibly validating. I call it the law of the comedian, right? Like, if I tell a joke and nobody laughs, am I a comedian? Mm-hmm. No, so I don't get to call myself a comedian. If I say something and other people laugh, they label me a comedian. Right? Other people are the ones that give me my title.
Yes.
If I give myself a title, that's just arrogance. Mm-hmm. But if you give me a title, that's more than likely the truth.
Yes, sir.
Especially if that title is unanimously accepted.
I agree.
Leadership, good husband, like I've come to a point in my life where I have learned it is a lie to myself to label myself. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go out and perform, and you will tell me what I am based on the value that I have brought to you.
Yeah. That's an empowering story that you just told, especially in terms of raising your conscience, raising your awareness, raising the intelligence, but also the ability to be vulnerable and allow yourself to be vulnerable and admit that if I can't be vulnerable with myself and tell myself the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it is, and the amount of discomfort it brings, you wouldn't be able to get to the point that you're at right now.
Well, dude, it's wild because once you learn that everything you want is just on the other side of that thing you don't want to do.
Yes.
Whether it is going to the gym, reading a book, getting up and cleaning your room, doing your taxes, the relief, if you can attach, like we talked earlier about that dopamine thing, like where people will feel bad and then they'll chase something for a quick dopamine hit. Mm-hmm. If you can attach your
compensation.
Yeah. Like if you can attach your reward to the thing that's on the other side of that thing you don't want to do, that what you asked earlier, like what's the thing that keeps pushing you forward? It's me going, man, I'm going to feel so good once this is done. Mm-hmm. So like, just like taxes, it's tax season.
Yes, sir.
I used to wait until the night before. Like a kid that has a book report.
That's how I used to as well, and did not put me in a good position at all.
Now, I don't even think about the act of doing taxes. I think about how good it's going to feel when everybody else is going, oh, I got to do my taxes, for me to be able to say, I did mine 3 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. You know, so like just take that pattern of thought of like, this is going to be so good once it's done.
Yes.
I don't know. That's where I find relief.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that story, man. Thank you for giving us a view of the upbringing and how you got here. My biggest thing is, like we said, we're talking about vulnerability. We're talking about the ability to be a leader for yourself, let alone for others. How were you able to deal with all those emotions? Because I can only imagine just the emotional roller coaster that you were going through. What was something that helped you cope with that, helped you heal through that?
I was court ordered to deal with it.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. So like I was brought up in, I call it a John Wayne household.
Yes.
You know, the picture of the avatar that is John Wayne. Do you know who that is?
Of course.
Rugged cowboy.
Hard nose.
Just
his way or the highway.
Yeah. And it was never like verbally explained. It's just, that's kind of the avatar that I developed by watching the men in my life. Now I will say this. I've been blessed with great parents, wonderful people in my life. I don't blame them at all for the perception that I developed for how I made sense.
Of course, because one thing I learned too is just they had to get it from somewhere, and the people that they got it from somewhere. Yeah. So it's just a long line.
Well, when you recognize that, like my parents were boomers, their grandparents were savages.
Yes,
like if you just go 2 generations before the boomers, like those people were hard nosed. Like,
yes,
they did not grow up in a world like what we have. Like they had outhouses and.
They really had to go out and get it. If they don't, then there's nothing on the table for the family at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just recognizing like everybody is a product of the generation before them.
Yes.
But for me, I was court ordered. And so coming through that life where I learned to it was push it all down and work harder. And that was the algorithm that I developed or was gifted or however you want to look at it. And when I graduated early from St. Louis County Drug Court, the judge looked at me when he handed me my little piece of paper that said I had completed the program. He goes, "Clint, do you know you are the angriest person to ever come through my courtroom?" And I go, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, you've come a long way." And the secret to that was counseling. And I can tell you exactly the moment that it switched on for me, where I went, "Oh, I need to be here." There was an exercise they had us do. She had us list everything that we were worried about. And then she would have us list what percentage of control we had over that. And there's this neat little trick she did where like, really the things you're worried about, you have 0 control over.
Yes.
And I went through and I'd put a 15% control over my finances. And I control this much of how much my family forgives me. And once I switched all my numbers to zeros, a light switched on. And I went, I have no control over any of this. And she would look at you and she'd go, "Then why are you worried about it?" And like a light, it went off. And I go, I have to focus on what I can control.
Yes.
I control what time I go to bed. I control what time I get up. I control what goes in my mouth, and I control what comes out of my mouth. And outside of that, that's it. And so I got to work on that. And going through probation, we did, I think it was about 16 or 19 hours a week of counseling. And that's what did it. Like just practicing talking. That's why when I talk to the men that work for me at the company, like I will always ask you like, "Hey, what are you experiencing right now? How does that make you feel?" Because like, do you know Brene Brown?
I don't believe so, no.
So Brene Brown was she's a recovering alcoholic that became like, she's into like the gender studies and things like that. She predominantly works on material that is directed towards women. But it's just the truth. It's got a very feminine delivery to it. But like, if you listen to her, Jocko Willink, who is like a Navy SEAL, they actually teach the same thing. But what
through different mediums and stuff like that.
Well, it's accountability, vulnerability. That true strength is willing to admit that I don't know how to do this and I need to ask for help.
That's the one thing I learned early on, is that the most high wisdom thing, whimsical thing that you can tell yourself is, I don't know.
Yeah. Just admit. Don't fake it, because everybody else knows you don't know. And they're going to know when you don't figure it. Like when you can't do the thing that you say you're going to do. You're going to struggle. You're going to get pissed. You're going to blame others. And that's just a pattern of behavior that's not going to get you where you want to go. And it all goes back to just your insecurity of not being able to admit, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's not strength, it's ignorance.
It's ignorance. And it's futile. So like she took a survey, and she said the average American can only identify 3 emotions within themselves: happy, sad, and pissed off. And so if you can just begin, again, vocabulary, the terminology is the key. if you can more accurately identify what's going on in you, like
Yes.
just start with good, bad. Am I good or am I bad? I'm bad. Okay. Well, what flavor of bad are you? Are you frustrated? Are you angry? Are you scared? Are you annoyed?
Yeah, it's a whole spectrum.
There's a whole spectrum. And the more precisely you can label that, the more accurately it will point back to the cause. And once you have the cause, well, as they say, accurately defining a problem is half the solution, right? Like once I know what's causing this emotion, now I can go confront it. And maybe it's an interaction that you and I had where like you said something to me and like it hurt my feelings. Like if I can confront that without conflict, then I resolve that and then I've just freed myself. And that freedom is everything, man.
Yes.
Not carrying around those burdens like I did the first 38 years of my life. That is the thing that has turned it around. Where like building relationships isn't so much, it's sort of like getting in shape. Like you have people come and ask you like, hey man, how do I get in shape? Probably the first thing you tell them is not positive things to do. It's to stop doing the negative things.
Yes.
And for me, a mentality is built very much the same way. Like it's not all this new stuff you got to do. It's actually, I need you to do less. Stop doing all these negative things. And so you look at that and you go, it actually is kind of a relief to grow and unload that stuff.
Yes. And also looking at the negatives or the things that aren't working, the ability to identify it and also move away from that is a transfer of energy too.
Yeah.
And a transfer of space is now you have more space, more time, and more energy to put into the things that actually work.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like there's a ton of like mental pictures you can draw up. Like if you're dragging 5 anchors around, like why wouldn't you cut those loose?
Yes.
Those anchors can be anger, unforgiveness, resentment, whatever it is. Like let that go. It's poison. Like the idea that like holding on to anger is like swallowing poison to hurt someone else. Like
Yes.
it just kills you. It's cancer in you. So that's the thing where in counseling, I have attached my dopamine to the relief I get through confronting things.
Yes, sir. Are you still in counseling today?
Yeah.
Nice. How you liking
Dude,
it?
I look again at every level. Well, the way I look at it is like my life is unorganized, and then I put it in a box and I get my stuff together.
Yes, sir.
Right? And then I level up, and leveling up causes pressure. And pressure is like squeezing that box, and then I view my character defects as like Play-Doh squeezing out.
Yes, sir.
Right? Increased pressure, like I gotta clean it up again. And the same ones always revisit me every time I get a level up in life. So like whenever I got the relationship with Robin, like that was a level up. I now have a relationship that is ongoing, that I have responsibilities and I have to maintain this. So that was pressure.
Yes.
And my fear and insecurity came back out. So like you go through the same process again, and it's just being willing to be vulnerable and go, ooh, yeah, my insecurity is coming back out. I snapped at you. Or, hey, I'm actually afraid of losing you, and that's why I acted in the way that I did.
Yes, sir.
And it builds such rapport to not fake having it all together and go, man, I'm just like you. Or, ma'am, I'm just like you. And this is what I'm experiencing right now, and I'm doing the best that I can. And I look at that as an offer of partnership.
Yes.
Right? Like, you're probably going through something. I'm going through something. And relationships can be built based on that offer of partnership.
Indeed.
You know? And if you help me get through something, that probably makes you feel good.
Yes.
So,
Yes,
like,
sir.
why wouldn't I offer you a chance to feel good by helping me?
Of course.
But,
And I mean, you're the source of all of life at the end of the day. So like life is moving through you. So however you like, you're like a car, you have to go and tune up every single time. It's when we wash our cars, like there's always the shiny car, but it's under the dirt and we have to go through that car wash. And that's how I view therapy. It's just showing the specs and the shine of my car, not just the dirt of it. Because I feel like if I used to focus on the dirt, I used to focus on a lot of the negative, and not realizing once you wash that off, it looks like a brand new car, especially if you take care. Thank you, thank you. Yeah,
that thing. It's also very useful. Like we talked about friend groups earlier, like having friends that will tell you the truth.
Yes.
And to me, that's what a counselor does. It's somebody completely objective. They're from the outside looking in because, like, you've met people. You have friends, family, where you're not really involved in the situation, and you're looking at it going, man, this is pretty clear what's going on, and
Yes.
they may not want to take your word for it. An objective point of view is what you need when you are emotionally involved in something, because when you're emotional, you have lost all that objectivity.
Yes.
And at that point, you need to bring someone in and go, hey, I love this person, or maybe it's just you. Like, hey, I just need you to take a look at my life, and I'm going to tell you what I'm seeing. You tell me what you're seeing. Give me a different perspective on my life. And that's just it's really hard to get out of our own head and to take a look at ourselves, because we always judge ourselves by our intentions, not by our actual output. And counseling just really, we're currently in counseling. So I did that 15 months.
Oh, you guys are together doing it? Oh, nice.
So we did that. And then my friend groups kind of became counselors, and that's very natural for that to happen. But when Robin and I got together and our relationship began to grow, there came a point where we kept hitting our head on the same glass ceiling. We kept getting to the same disagreements, not arguments, but different points of view, and we couldn't come to an agreement.
Right.
And so I was like, hey, things aren't bad, but like, why don't we go talk to an objective third person and see what they see?
Yes.
Because like, I have my point of view and and you have yours. Like, let's see what someone else will see. So we always explain it as we went to marital counseling for fun. I was like,
yeah, you told me that.
Yeah,
you told me that
everybody
before.
goes to counseling when it's already bad.
Yes.
Like, go when it's fun. That way you can enjoy it. You can turn it into a date night. Go see your counselor, talk about the relationship, and then go out to dinner and, rehash it and see what you covered. And we actually really enjoyed it.
Nice.
And so we did that. And then, that was 9 months that we did that on a weekly basis. And then she learned a lot about herself that she never realized. I learned a lot about myself that I didn't realize. And we learned a lot about ourselves and how we interact together.
Yes. So you guys are right next to each other talking to the third party, correct?
Yeah.
So how do you find that balance of knowing when to talk, when to give space, and when to listen as well? Because I mean, that's the foundation of relationships at the end of the day, is knowing when to speak, knowing when to listen, and knowing when to compromise. So how have you learned through, first, how does that look in counseling? Because I've never done group counseling before, at least with a significant other.
Well, so the dynamic is ultimately, it's always going to be led by the counselor. So like when I did group counseling and there's 9 people in there,
yes,
usually what you're doing is you're going around the room and you're checking in, and somebody's going to have something that's like a red flag, an alert, like, hey, this is a big deal. We need to hone in on this.
Yes.
And the idea is that we're going to help this person work through this issue, because anything that this person deals with is, as the Bible says, like, no sins are common but to all men. Like, we all deal with the same stuff.
Yes.
So like, by listening to the counselor talk to that person, I'm going to listen and observe, try to pick up the values and the tools so that I can apply it to maybe what I'm dealing in my life that's maybe a little less urgent right now. But it's a group, right? So when you go to one-on-one, like, it's right here. It's intense. I like the marriage counseling because, again, it's a group setting where, like, if I'm not feeling any kind of pressure in particular, like, cool, your turn to talk. What do you got? Right? And if you got nothing to talk about, well, why are we here? But like, every week for 9 months, one of us would have something. And like, it would start out, some weeks it would start out slow. Like, hey, how was work? What'd you guys do for date night? And like, something would come up, and then there'd be something kind of poke its head out.
Yes.
And then she'd go, ooh, your eyebrows moved a little bit when you talked about that. Can you tell me about the emotion you're feeling right now? And then that's a signal to go deeper.
Yeah, it's crazy how much body language can just give it away.
Yeah. So, like, people's shoulders, there's something in all of us. Like, I've ever told you about the analogy of pain being like a t-shirt?
I don't think so.
So you're wearing a shirt and a jacket, right?
Yes, sir.
But you forgot all about that shirt and that jacket until I called it out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you put on that shirt, you felt it.
Yes.
But our brains are programmed to shut down constant stimuli. It does the same thing to pain and insult. So like, if I say something that hurts your feelings and there's no resolution, like you'll go through life and forget that that's there. Now there's fancy terms for it in psychology and repressed memories and all this, but like the bottom line is you can't hold every thought in your brain constant for your whole life.
Yes.
They will just be forgotten, but they factor into your algorithm of how you make decisions and how you interact with people. Now, when you go to counseling and you just get people to talking, hey, how was your day? What did you think about the game? What's your favorite color? Hey, where do what did you want to be when you grew up? Just get people talking. They will automatically go, like they will just not automatically, they will naturally fade towards the thing that's upsetting them. Right? And that just happens in counseling.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And like, I started this with the kids. We, have you ever seen the conversation games?
Conversation game. Yeah.
Like
yeah.
icebreaker games?
Yeah.
So post-COVID, we had kind of lost the ability to converse. So we started these conversation games. And it would be like, hey, what's your favorite color? And we'd go around the room. Mine's red, green, blue, yellow. Okay. If you could be any animal, what would you be? And I'd be like, I'd be an eagle. Well, I'd be a dolphin. I'd be a lion. And then somebody would be like, 4th grade sucked. And you'd be like, whoa, that came out of nowhere. Hey, do you want to talk about 4th grade? Yeah.
They kind of just give you the flag.
Well, yeah, like it would just erupt. And it always amazed me that all you got to do is get people into the flow of talking and like it will come out. Like that's the thing. That's why I like to have coffee with people.
Yes.
Like, just get people down and get to talking, and the thing will come out. And now we can confront it. And once we confront it, we can get past it and get that relief.
Yes, sir.
Does that make sense?
Agreed.
So, yeah, we're doing that. And then when Angie passed away, we immediately called Susan back, the lady that did our marriage counseling, was like, we want to go again. And she's like, okay, what do you want to tackle? And we're like, well, this is new. We've never really had to grieve like this. And we're not only grieving for ourselves, but we want to be able to help our kids through the grieving process.
Yes.
And so that's what we're doing now. And we're 4 months into that. And we do it every other week.
How are you doing?
Good.
That's good.
Good. I mean, I say good. Like, we're grieving.
Yes.
Like you'll laugh and smile, and then you'll turn a corner and a thought will pop into your head and you realize, I don't ever get to see Angie again. There it is.
No, you're all good. Take your time.
But the giving yourself, you would ask a lot of questions about vulnerability. And what I tell people is give yourself full permission to be human. That the human experience, like if you've seen a cross section of a brain, right?
Yes, sir.
Like in an anatomy book. So you have your 5 senses. You have touch, taste, smell, pressure, hot and cold. You have all these senses. And they all come through our body, up our spinal cord, and then they filter into our brain, up to the medulla oblongata, like
Yes.
Outcast talked about.
Yeah.
So you have these things, and they go through the limbic brain, call it the animal brain, where like your most basal instincts like reside. Your sleep-wake cycle, your sex drive, your appetite, your fight or flight response, like that's where all of the input goes first. And then it goes up to your white matter, the cerebral cortex, where your higher level human thinking happens, right? So like if you can recognize that I'm a human and I'm not a faulty human if I experience fear, like the way that we interface with the world, your emotion is going to come first. It is what you do after you experience the emotion that makes you an effective human being or not. Does that make sense? So like the emotions you have full permission.
Your response to it.
It is your response
Yes.
that you are responsible for. Just being angry, like that's human. Me being sad, that's human. Like give yourself full permission to experience the full array of the human experience. Where you have to take responsibility is what comes after that emotion.
Yes.
And that is where the people that you admire in your life more than likely deal with those emotions in a healthy way that gets them into a better spot and propels their life forward.
I'm so glad that you brought that up, because one thing I struggled with was I've always known that it's in the response, and the response is how you get through everything. That's the control point. That's what I can control. But sometimes I've mistaken that, and have been around people that have mistaken that with, okay, I can't respond in anger. I can't respond in feeling this way. I'm not. So you shut down your feeling mechanism, essentially. And that can be tough, because those feelings are directing you towards the truth of how you feel and the truth of the matter, at least through your perception.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to deal with that and be able to tackle that for you to respond of how to deal with that situation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the truth is, everybody's different.
Yes.
Robin is one that can make sense and identify her emotions. Robin's my wife, by the way, my smoking hot wife. How you doing, baby?
Shout out to Robin.
Yeah. So she will process very quickly. From the time I met her, I have a history. Like, I'm a very emotional person, and I've recognized that about myself, that when I feel something,
It's one of your strengths.
it can be. It can be. There's a lot of things that are like electricity. It's all on how you harness it, right? Like, electricity can light up a city, or it can accidentally electrocute your best friend. You have to harness it correctly. So my emotions will sometimes mislead me, especially, really negative or positive. If I get too high up on the scale, negative or positive,
You're ungrounded.
I do silly things.
Yes.
And so I call it processing time. When I'm feeling strong emotions, I usually sit down and then I will draw out that wheel of emotion and go, okay, what am I experiencing? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it a mix? Right? Like, a lot of times nervousness and excitement are kind of the same thing. Yes. Like, which way is this going? Like,
going into performances, if I'm doing poetry or meditations and stuff, it's just like I get that anxiety, but I have the ability to understand what type of anxiety. Is it anxious that I'm going to fail, or I don't want to go through this, or is it anxiety that I'm ready for this? It's just, how can I use this energy to better my performance?
Yeah, and once you can harness that, but like, I'll go through a processing time where I view my emotions as a pie chart. And then I'll try to identify and accurately label, and then trace those back to their origin. And so that way, like, if I'm stressed at work and Robin says something that makes me upset, if 20% of my negative emotion is because of work and 5% is because of Robin, I want to make sure I don't dump all 25% of my negative emotion on her.
Yes, sir.
I want to make sure to communicate to her, like, hey, this is your 5% that I need to confront. And maybe you meant it, maybe I misinterpret, but whatever that is. But like, I can't put everything on her. And in the same way, like, at work, there's people who show up mad at 8 a.m.
Yes.
And then something will go wrong at work, and they want to blame work for everything wrong in their life. And it's like, yo, man, I don't know how to tell you this, but like, your home life is in turmoil, and I can't fix that by giving you a raise or, making sure that your schedule's in a better order. Like, I'm responsible for about 2% of your negative emotions right now. Your home life is about 40.
And sometimes why we do that is to relieve any type of not only stress, but responsibility over tending to those emotions and actually going deeper and figuring out, why are we feeling this way? Why did something at home make me feel this way? And why do I hold on to it?
Why do you think that is?
Not enough, not a big enough community, I guess, not being able to speak those.
Well, from my perception,
in awareness.
As soon as you accurately label the emotional content of your heart, most of that points back to things that are yours.
Yes.
And that's a hard thing to shrug off. It's the expression, somebody said to me, if you want to feel better, blame someone else. If you want to get better, blame yourself.
Yeah.
But like, why does half the population of the U.S. not want to take account for where they're at? Like, part of it is how they were brought up. Part of it is maybe they picked it up in school, like their friend group, whatever it is.
There's so many scapegoats.
There's so many, but like, normally it's just, people run in packs, and good people run in packs, and ineffective people run in packs. And it's not until they mix that you get a perspective of like, oh, that's why you're struggling.
Yes, sir.
But the people that are struggling don't usually want to hear that. So It's a tough gig, man.
Indeed.
It's how do you sell someone the hard solution?
Yes.
That like the thing that you want most is just on the other side of that thing you don't want to do.
Mm-hmm. That is.
I'm good at sales, but that's a hard sales pitch, bro.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's hard to look within and look in the mirror a lot. Because, I mean, we haven't really been given those tools, too, as well.
No.
And the generations before us have, like you said, the white knuckle really thug it out.
Well,
just thug it out.
And, dude, you hear it. Like, even people well-intentioned will parrot. Sometimes well-intentioned, ineffective people will parrot the advice of well-intentioned, effective people. Mm-hmm. And in my world, that usually comes across as the bootstrap conversation. Well, you just need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yes.
But you can tell they don't know what they're talking about because there's no advice on how to actually do that. Mm-hmm. Just telling, that's like telling a baseball pitcher, like, just throw strikes.
Okay,
dude. Yeah. Well, how? Thanks for the advice. I never thought about that. Yeah, I thought I was supposed to be throwing balls in the dirt the whole time. Like, yes, I'll go throw strikes.
As an outfielder, I've definitely said that plenty of times.
Yeah. So but what's the thing? And I think that's the interface where, from the Christian perspective, that's discipleship. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, man, Jesus taught that, he had both a masculine and a feminine love. There was an accepting, I love you no matter what. Mm-hmm. But you are screwing up over here, and I think you can do better.
Yes.
How do you mix those two? And in doing that, partner with somebody to not only be there with them as they're suffering, call them out on the things where they're falling short, but then actually modeling.
Yes.
And saying, dude, let me show you. Come with me. This is going to suck, but I'm going to be right there with you, and I'm going to show you how.
Yeah, you don't want to be an authoritarian, but you don't want to baby somebody.
Yeah, and that's a hard balance, man. And sometimes it is a razor's edge. Mm-hmm.
Because not everybody can respond well to either side of that.
No. And it's like being a parent. Mm-hmm. To me, leading at work is exactly the same way that I lead at home. I just look at my home as a business. I
hope I'm a good kid.
Dude, you're a great kid, man. Dude, you make my heart glow.
Thank you.
From the moment I met you, I was like, dude, I wish this guy would come work. It would be so great just to have him in there. Because the same way that my kids will go out, and I'm proud because I in a prideful way, I made that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And as I say that out loud, that sounds really unhealthy. I should probably do some work on that.
I mean, technically it's true if we're going by technicalities.
I don't think anyone would dispute that kids are a blank slate.
Yes.
And no one would argue with the fact that if you grow up in an alcoholic abusive home, you are more likely to grow up and produce an alcoholic abusive home. Mm-hmm. Right? Whereas if you grow up in a home that shows healthy conflict resolution and, whatever the characteristic is, you're just imprinted in that, mm-hmm. right? The CIA even builds their manipulation portfolios based off where you spent the first 7 years of your life because it imprints so heavily on your algorithm for how you see the world.
Yes, sir. And I would even argue that it's more dangerous now because so many people... now we live in this society where there's so many pleasure hubs that you can turn to, and especially the phone too. It's like if you're feeling something, just doom scroll,
dude.
And you doom scrolling. A lot of people don't know that you're passively taking in information. You're passively taking in images that your brain is gonna suck it right in and never lose, at least in your subconscious.
And you know this as well as I do, that there's ancient wisdom that will still sticks to this day. But the Bible says, be careful what you allow into your eyes and ears, for it will reside in your heart and proceedeth from your mouth.
Yes.
So whatever, it all affects you. I can go, that's the ancient language, the biblical wisdom, the real word, that description of the brain in your animal brain, there's a thing called the reticular activating system. Have you ever heard of it?
Yes, sir.
So that thing where I go, hey, have you seen that new Tesla? And you go, haven't seen it. But as soon as I show you a picture of it, you drive around the next week and you start seeing them everywhere.
Yes.
It's because you showed that to your brain, and your brain will subconsciously look for that match everywhere you go. Mm-hmm. That's why when you find people that are looking for examples of oppression, they will find it everywhere.
Yes.
If you find somebody that is an entrepreneur and looking for opportunity, they will find it everywhere. Mm-hmm. And like dating, like you can fill in the blank, but whatever you train your brain to see, you will find it.
Could you agree with to the point where if you hone in on that approach and that mindset too much, you'll start creating those instances even if they're not there?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Because I can think of an entrepreneur, and this is one thing that I had to make sure I watch out for, is not thinking of everything as an opportunity where I start using people and certain experiences just for self-preservation or just building myself up.
That's that spectrum where you got to keep it in the middle. You have to keep a healthy balance.
Yes.
Because you can literally leverage everything. Mm-hmm. I watch the owner of our business struggle with that. Mm-hmm. And like, that's actually where I came up with the rule that you can do anything, but you cannot do everything.
Yes.
So pick the thing that you want to do. And then you ever watch Parks and Recreation?
A little bit, not too much.
Do you know who Ron Swanson is?
Yeah.
Never half-ass two things, whole-ass one thing.
Yes, sir.
So like you can only pick out so many things in so many directions before you are just divided that, you'll never get to the goal on anything because you're just putting 5% of yourself towards 20 different things.
I agree. Yeah. And that's one thing I learned in my 20s is that I have a passion for so many things, but it's just, okay, focus on this one thing first. And then we'll get to this other thing.
I listened to a billionaire, and I can't remember his name, but he goes, once you get to a certain level, the most powerful word you have is no.
Yes.
Because like
the boundary setting.
The boundary setting, because the world is filled with distractions, and a lot of them are like worthwhile. But like, what's the thing you're going to do?
Yes, sir.
Because until you do that, then you can move on to what's next. Mm-hmm. So you want to perform, you want to do your nonprofit stuff, you want to be an Oscar award winner. Yeah,
we talked about this at Cracker Barrel. Shout out to Cracker Barrel, by the way.
Cracker Barrel, love the new icon.
Yes, sir. You like the new logo?
I don't care, dude. I like the eggs.
The older logo is better to me.
Yeah, it's whatever.
As long as they don't change the pancakes, I'm good.
Don't change the pancakes. But yeah, dude, what's the thing? If I call it road mapping, mm-hmm. So self-awareness is step one. Where am I?
Yes. I believe I still have the tissue.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we did write this down.
Yes, sir.
And then where do you want to go? And then how do you build a roadmap? And hopefully your passions can fall in an ordered line there. So you go, okay, first, let me devote myself to this thing. And once I get here, then I can do this. And it's not going to be perfect. It's probably going to be the 80-20 rule, where, your plan is about 80% accurate, but you're going to have to freestyle in there somewhere.
Of course. And that's the beauty of it, is learning how to freestyle, learning how to be spontaneous.
Well, and be fully ready. If you make out a roadmap, you might get halfway through that roadmap. And then as you get to know yourself through struggle, you realize I thought I wanted to go here. That's not it.
Yeah.
I'm now 100% sure and you can adapt. But if you don't start with a plan, what is it? People who fail to plan to fail, or whatever.
Yes.
It's an old expression, but do that step one, which is who am I? And then step two, who do I want to be? Or where am I? Where do I want to be? But then roadmap that and then stick to it. That's the discipline thing.
Indeed.
Motivation will get you the dream. Discipline is the gas that actually drives the car to get you there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I actually went through that. And after I quit baseball, I was asking myself, because at this time I'm really getting into my own spirituality and my own quest of faith, I guess you would say. Mm-hmm. And the first thing I thought of was film. And this is back in 2020.
Yeah.
And I started writing ideas down, but my confidence wasn't fully there. So if the confidence wasn't fully there, so I started turning to different things. So I turned back to baseball. I wanted to make that work. Obviously, that didn't work, so I turned to music and poetry because I'm around story stitchers a lot. And I realized that, okay, that's something I do want to do. I want to still keep that in mind, but I don't have that fiery passion to do that right now. Architecture is something I've always wanted to do ever since I was a kid. Yeah, and interior design and build new structures and stuff like that. That's still something I want to do, but architecture is just, there's so much things that you have to do with that as well. And that's really time consuming. And I was like, okay, my heart's not there. And it came all right back to film. So it was a full circle moment of figuring out, like you said, throughout your 20s, figuring out what you like and what you don't like. And I went through, it's funny how God showed me what I'm meant to do. And I declined it, and I go through a lot of things that I don't want to do just for me to get back to what God showed me, what's right for me.
Well, and here's the thing. Like, have you heard of people who there's the mental mindset of high performers, right? The people who are goal driven, and they typically fight, claw, and they attain all these things, but they're miserable on the way there.
Yes.
And people will say, you should learn to enjoy the journey, right? The person that enjoys the journey will go further than the person who loves the destination, right? Have you ever heard that?
Yes, sir.
And someone said to me just last week, they go, it's not about the destination or the journey. It's about the person that you become along the way. And that's what God is trying to accomplish in you.
Of course.
God doesn't care if you win an Oscar. He doesn't care if this podcast goes viral. It doesn't matter.
It's the self-realization that happened.
The thing is the work he's doing in you.
Of course.
And how you interface with that. That is the whole point. Like, if you, like, I've read a lot of, call it ancient literature. More or less, I've listened to experts.
Like what?
Anything. Like, Chase Hughes will talk about the is it the Veda or the
Bhagavad Gita?
That one. Like,
the Vedas? Yeah, that came from Hinduism as well. Yes.
Yeah, so like, from my standpoint, I'm not an expert. Like, I've gone all in. I've pushed my chips to the middle of the table with Team Jesus. But I am not a person that says, like, Jesus says he's the way, the truth, and the life, but I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
So, like, don't take my word for it. Like, if you see something in value of me, ask me and I'll tell you about what I'm doing. But that's as far as I'm willing to push it. I think if you go one step past that, you start turning into something that doesn't honor the teachings of Jesus.
Of course, I agree.
So I let Jesus speak for himself. My job is just to tell my testimony and represent him as best I can.
Yeah, be your own example.
But there's common themes of just wisdom, of like, based on how we are created, how our brains work, how we interface with the world, there is just commonalities of wisdom no matter where you look.
Of course.
Agree or disagree?
I agree.
All right, so on that path, we're talking about awareness and your journey and your passions.
Oh, and wisdom isn't information.
It's how you connect.
Yes, because I feel one thing I got lost in is this age of information and just scrolling and taking in off that information. I deemed it as wisdom, but a lot of this information doesn't apply to me, and I don't need to apply it into life at all. It's just meaningless. What
is it? Knowledge is knowing that tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing it doesn't belong in a fruit salad.
Yes. I never heard that one.
Yeah. So like, well, in a world where we've, in this Rockefeller age of education, like, we're producing people that are well educated and yet are not very wise.
Yeah. Just put them on the assembly line.
Yeah. Yeah. They're built to stand in line and fill out a test and do the next thing. But like, critical thought is not something that I would say our culture excels at.
Agreed. Unfortunately.
But like, that work in you of like, as you describe all the things that you want to do, the common theme is creativeness and artistic expression. So like, I would propose that anything that allows you those two virtues, if you did those, you would deem it a success.
Yes.
Like, you're putting titles on it. But what's the thing under the thing, right? Like, film, it's actually a creative expression. That's the thing that your soul yearns for.
Yeah, the storytelling.
Right? So like, Does it have to be film? What if it was music? What if it was poetry? What if it was graffiti? Like there's something in you that is yearning to be expressed, and that's the thing underneath the thing.
And that's the beauty of the Bible, especially, is that it's through storytelling in which we learn those virtues and those values.
I just listened to a language expert. He was giving a talk on how if you wanted to pass knowledge, because like there's a lot of people who think that like human civilization actually goes further back than 10,000 years.
I believe that. Yeah, we had that conversation with Graham Hancock and all that.
Yeah, there's no way to prove that it isn't. Like with just the way that, Earth recycles itself, that like any materials they made are going to erode. Like there's no way to prove that there wasn't.
Yes.
And in 10,000 years, like what we have made, what will remain?
Right.
And if a new civilization comes in, they won't read our language. Like, so if you wanted to pass on knowledge, you wouldn't write it down in a book. You would hopefully tell it through story.
Yes.
That whether or not you can read my language, we can go to a cave and see like, oh, look, they were hunting, and this is, like a story transcends language. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And he
yes,
goes,
indeed.
So if there was something that you wanted to preserve, your best way to do that over the millennia is through story.
And symbolism as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because like, you even look at the translations from like Dead Sea Scrolls and the Septuagint and all these like ancient Aramaic and Greek, like there's literally words that they have that don't have a direct translation. We have to translate the idea, and when you translate an idea using words, you lose part of its meaning.
Of course.
So like, it's not a perfect system. And if you boil it down, what is language? Like, I'm interfacing with the world. I'm having an experience. I'm storing that experience through neurotransmitters and the electricity in my brain. And then I'm trying to use a shared common language to re-express what I experienced in here to you so that you have a similar experience with neurotransmitters in your brain. And if you think about that, like, it's really inefficient.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if I tried to describe to you what it was like for me to have my coffee earlier today, I'm really relegated to sweet, savory, like
the five senses essentially too.
Well, I assure you that I enjoyed that coffee much more than I could put into words and get you to relive that experience.
Right.
The only way that you would know what I'm talking about is if you had a coffee and you enjoyed it as much as I did. And then when I described it, you would relive your experience and you would tell yourself the story in your brain similar to the story I told myself.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of actually going out and creating your own wisdom. And that's to bring it all back into that age of information. It's just, that's what information can take you away from. The amount of information, you feel like you know it all and you don't have to go out into the world and experience things. But when you realize that information isn't wisdom, then now you put yourself in the driver's seat.
Well, now we're moving into AI. So, like, what if the information you're getting is just manufactured?
Yeah, where if all the pictures that I'm seeing isn't from the time period that I'm looking for. Yeah, it's
crazy.
It's rough. There's one dude, he's in a bunch of memes. He's the, I don't know if you ever seen him. He never speaks in any of the videos that he's in. He always does like facial expressions, gestures, all that. Kind of like something crazy happens and something wacky happens and he's just looking at the camera like this. He actually sold all of his likeness to an AI company for
Is it a white guy?
It's a black dude. Dude. $975 million.
Is he a young guy?
He can't be any older than 35.
I know. Is this the guy where like somebody will do like a hack of like a different way to peel a banana? And he reacts to it? Is it that guy?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
I think so. He sold all his likeness.
I saw that. $900 million.
Yes, insane.
Yeah.
And it's just like, but he doesn't have jurisdiction or control of how his likeness is used. It just pops up in advertisements in Los Angeles, and somewhere in Korea, I believe, too, as well. But it's just like, it's so dangerous now because he took the check over having control of his own likeness, and I could never do that. No.
Well, so I was just at a board meeting. So we work for a pest control company, Pure Pest, giving hugs, killing bugs, can call us.
This is not a paid advertisement,
Not
but
at
shout
all.
out to them.
But a friend of mine that runs a local competitor, great company, great dude, he unknowingly signed over his likeness to the advertising firm that does his online marketing.
Oh.
So there is AI manufactured pictures of him in ads for his pest control company, but he signed away his likeness.
Oh, yeah, no.
So it'll probably turn into nothing.
Yeah.
But you replicate that decision that maybe 10,000 small business owners do, and like you no longer have rights to your likeness, and
Yeah.
it can be used for anything.
Yeah, it's rough.
What if they insert you in the Zapruder film, and then they come to find out that like you're the one that killed JFK?
Yeah. Yeah, just rewriting history as we go.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's scary times, but the best thing that you can do is just get away from the excess amount of information and build your own experience, and
Yep.
not allow anybody to taint that experience.
Actually, before I came here today, I just set a time limit for my social media on my phone to 1 hour.
Oh, nice.
And I kept wanting to look at my phone. I was like, don't burn your hour, dude.
Yeah.
Don't burn your hour.
Yeah, do you use an app for that?
It's in the phone, and I'm not sure how effective it is. Just me
Oh, you went through the settings. Okay, got you.
being cognizant that, like, looking at your phone while you're in the bathroom or for that half hour before bed, like, it just adds up. And I looked at my weekly report, and, like, it's skewed because, like, a lot of what I do is YouTube for learning.
Yeah, and also Service Titan and
Service
everything
Titan,
too.
like,
in the
it
maps.
was just measuring screen time.
Yes,
and,
sir.
like, but I'm looking at that, and I'm going, I know a lot of that is social media
Yeah.
that I don't want to admit to. And, the same way that little bite licks and tastes during the day will make you fat.
Yeah.
Like just the little moments where you're like, oh, what's going on? Oh, okay, cool. Somebody sent me a meme, and then it turns into reels. And like the thing with reels is it resets your internal clock automatically.
Yes.
And 3 seconds will add up to 3 hours
Oh man.
like that.
Yeah, it's rough. Sometimes
Yeah.
I forgot who told me. He said if you ever find yourself just doom scrolling and just being so sucked into the phone, put the phone down and do this and realize that you just been doing this for 3 hours.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh, that'll bring your awareness to how much of your life you're wasting.
Of course. Yeah, and I just hold myself. I'm like, wow, I'm not putting any type of input into life right now.
Well, like, because I've encountered this before, that thing where, like, earlier in my life, before there was such a presence of social media, like, around, like, 2000 to 2006, I still listened to talk shows all day, and it was ESPN. And, like, I could give you a breakdown of just about every secondary in the NFL and, like, what their draft needs were and, like, how they match up and, like, it gave me the itch that it was scratching was the need to compete. Right? Like I still had that need to compete, and I was competing vicariously through the Chicago Bears. And it was horrible because they sucked.
Yeah.
We were not competing. We did this year. Cheers, Bears.
There you go.
But
Did
yeah,
you guys make it to the last four?
we made it to the conference championship.
Okay.
Played a good game, but like good for Matt Stafford.
Right.
Happy for him. But I was doing that, and like I sat down, and once I put a financial value on my time, and then I added up the amount of time that I had spent devoted to someone else's business, something that would never pay me back. I realized how bad of an investment that was.
Yeah.
And I cut it off. And I've mostly done a good job with social media, but even being aware of it, it has creeped up, and it will reemerge from time to time where I'm like, especially on Saturdays and Sundays where I'm just resting, that phone just ends up in your hand.
Yeah, it's free. It's
Someone will send
easily
you a
acceptable.
message, and a message links to this, and now I'm scrolling, and then an hour will go by.
Yeah.
And that's an hour of my life I will never get back. So, dude, it's a challenge. And being, as you talk about being mindful, like it is tough when the whole world is built to numb you.
Yeah. And I mean, it also helps when you learn the truth about a lot of things. Like you said, the world is built to numb you, and how like it can get so specific and so detailed to the point where the reason why they ask for camera access to your camera is because they look at your pupils and what stimulates it, and they'll give you that type of content that makes your pupils widen and stimulate you more.
Well, so Chase Hughes, are you familiar with Chase Hughes?
Chase Hughes?
So he's a guy that specializes in he's a kind of CIA, special forces, interrogation, things like that.
How you spell his last name?
Hughges.
Hughges.
Ton of content on YouTube.
US.
But the more you listen to people who plan and identify a psyop is just another word for public relations, advertising. Advertising is literally a psyop. It's trying to get you to play on an emotional component of you and get you to make a desired action. Yeah,
it's crazy that you bring that up. I don't know if I ever talked to you about this, but the guy that made propaganda, Edward Bernays.
He's the guy that came up with, he's the reason we have IHOP.
Yes, and his uncle is actually Sigmund Freud.
Yeah, I was aware of that.
So they have that connection. Sigmund Freud makes discoveries, what's going on in the mind, and Sigmund Freud, his approach was a lot different than Carl Jung because they worked together. Sigmund Freud was a lot more primal, animalistic, just like those functions of the human brain, while Carl Jung was just way off in a completely different dimension in terms of mandalas and the spirituality that ties in with our own inner psychology as well.
Both of them pretty wild.
Yes.
And both of them, I think, hit on, now I'm not an expert, but I've only listened to modern day experts evaluate them.
Yes.
So I'm simply recycling an opinion that was given to me that I trust more than myself.
Yeah, I have a couple of Carl Jung's books.
Yeah.
And he's
and
way out there. That
chase for you actually see it now. A lot of people trying to define what is consciousness, what is the thing in the world of physics, programming technology, what is the thing that sends AI from just being a large language model to being aware?
Yes.
Do you know where that comes from?
I don't, actually.
So you have to look up to get the name of the guy, but they're from MIT. When they developed large language models, they came up with Moore's Law, which is that computing and processing power doubles every 18 months. And that with that exponential increase in processing power, that these large language models would eventually outpace human intellect, and that theoretically they could reach the singularity, that moment where they attain consciousness, right? So that was in the 70s when Massachusetts Institute of Technology, these engineers came up with this. That's what ultimately gave rise to the Terminator series.
Yes.
Right? It's that idea that when does a computer become sentient and aware, and in other words, alive?
Yeah. Did you hear actually yesterday, because that's when we bombed Iran and everything, they actually, the Pentagon actually created a deal, I forgot with one of the companies, to start introducing AI models to go over and start fighting and
Anduril or one of those?
I think something like that.
Dude, it's terrifying.
And I know a lot of that they do have a contract. The government has a contract directly with OpenAI, with Sam Altman, who's actually from here.
He really?
Yeah, he's from St. Louis.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is he a good person? I don't know. But that's a whole conversation. So
there's a book called All of Our Leaders Are Psychopaths.
Yes.
I don't think you get to the top of the mountain by defending your virtue.
Not at all. Not at all.
I think you get there, the Epstein thing, what you find is you get into those circles by compromising and showing that you're willing to compromise anything.
Yes. Yes.
But where were we at? The consciousness thing.
Yes.
The thing with Carl Jung and Freud and everybody.
And the advertising and everything.
Tossing this over. And that when you realize that the best part of America is the worst part of America, that there's so much opportunity and prosperity, but if you get sucked into the machine, it will chew you up.
Like what I said with the entrepreneurship is if you get sucked into that, you view everything as an opportunity, and you treat everything not as an environment where you can grow together, but how you can use the environment for you.
How I can use you as a resource to
Yes.
get what I want.
Yes.
And that is where entrepreneurship goes to its toxic level.
Yes.
But the idea that like the psyop that is America, it's everything is trying to sell you something. Mm-hmm. That the Bible will say you have to live in this world, but not of this world. Mm-hmm. So like, how do you pick and choose what you just described? If I want to be an entrepreneur and pursue an opportunity in its truest form, that I am solving a problem, I am providing value to other people. Whereas you look at OpenAI is going to go by the same model that Microsoft did. Mm-hmm. Do you know where Excel came from?
Please tell me.
So you're familiar with Excel, right?
Yeah, of course.
It's amazing. It's used in every business.
Yeah, I love Excel.
Do you know who made Excel?
No.
We did, the consumer.
Oh.
They sourced the platform, and then they just watched to see how people were using it. People actually made Excel. Once they saw how people used their software, then they licensed it and sold it back to us.
Ah, okay.
So with AI, they're giving this all out for free, the chat bots, and they're seeing how people use it. And once that is useful and refined, they will then license it and sell it back to us.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I know a couple of people that actually turn to ChatGPT for even therapy. Mm-hmm. And I know that can be a real slippery slope.
I think it gets even slippier. It gets even more slippy. Slippy? Did I just say slippy?
Slippy? We'll go with that.
It gets more slippy. It gets more slippery with every generation, right? Because like if you look,
yes.
you can go back to the calculator, right? Like it used to be that everybody had to do their own math. Because they had to do their own math, they were good at math. Mm-hmm. But then the calculator came, right? Now I don't have to do the math. Same thing with like map finding. Like used to be when I was a kid and you wanted to come to St. Louis, you had to get a plot map and you had to, learn your way around, and you probably made some wrong turns, but like you manually, through an analog system, you had to map your way to get down here.
Yeah, now you have Apple Maps.
Now you have Apple Maps. You just follow the blue line, and you can try to get lost, but it will just reroute you and get you to your destination.
Right.
Well, is that a good thing? Of course. But like, are you as aware of your surroundings as you would have been if you would have done it yourself?
Yeah.
So we're going faster, but it's more like
we're getting more comfortable.
Comfortable, but like you're just the way that you're interfacing with the world is different.
Yes.
And like you and I have grown up without AI. So like we have learned to connect with people. We have learned to say please and thank you. All of these little nuanced things about human interaction. When the next generation comes up just ordering something to do, hey, tell me what the weather is. Hey, make me an itinerary for my trip. Hey, write me a letter to my boss. That's going to have an impact, right? And we won't be able to measure it until it's done. And that's the fear, that once it's done, it's done.
Yeah.
Like my wife works in the school system, and the most remarkable thing that she notices is how kids don't say hello, please, or thank you anymore.
Yes.
Like that's just lost, but that's a foundational piece of greeting and building a relationship.
Yeah.
Once it's gone, like how do you reinstall that once kids are 15?
And honestly, I feel that the world is putting us in a place where we have to self-realize ourselves, where we're pushed in the corner to realize ourselves, to be aware of ourselves, and how we respond to that is TBD, honestly.
Well, to circle back, and we can bring this to an end, but to circle back, you ask why leadership?
Yes.
And the best answer to that question is that there's no alternative. Mm-hmm. There's an absence of leadership everywhere. And in the absence of good leadership, we have to lead ourselves.
Indeed.
And so if the world is going to come out of this hole and with some sort of remnant of people that can usher a way forward, it's not going to be the people in places of power.
Yes.
It's going to be people grassroots. And hopefully if I can have an impact and change people's trajectory by 1%, if it's people like you, and then you can go and alter people's trajectory by 1%, like the law of compounding interest dictates that, like, if we can just pour into one another, we can change the world.
Indeed.
But
we have to build that awareness within ourselves, and then that community too.
Yeah, there's no shortcut either.
Yeah, none.
It's one day at a time.
And honestly, that's what we need.
Yeah.
We need that.
Well, and it's going to be showing up every day, and just like Job, smiling.
Yes, sir.
Here I am. Mm-hmm. What do you got for me today?
Of course. Well, the detour, just real quick. I've always, if you guys constantly watch and listen, I like music. I love music, actually. So with the limited options I have, you went ahead and you picked Purple Rain, which I guess not last time, but beforehand, which I posted the podcast yesterday, he picked Purple Rain too. Mm-hmm. What is it about Purple Rain that I know I have a limited selection, but Purple Rain is...
I did not pick him for the music.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, I love his music. Mm-hmm. Good stuff. I picked him because, do you remember, well, I don't even know if you were alive. You were probably really young when he went from being Prince to the artist formerly known as Prince.
Yes. He had the symbol.
So, yeah, the unpronounceable symbol.
Yeah, there's actually a house that I service in Pacific where when I pull up, they have that statue in front of their house.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that to me being in the infancy in my younger years, not understanding what the world was like, I mocked that. It wasn't until I got older and I understood the battle he was having with the powers that be.
Yes.
And that was his form of rebellion to take back what had been taken from him.
Yes.
That's when I admired Prince the most.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he became an example for a lot of younger artists to like make sure that you have your masters, make sure that you own your music. This is your art. Don't give it away just for a 360 deal because you'll get paid all this money up front knowing that's a loan.
Yeah. Well, that aspect of his story, aside from him being a creative that like I admire for the art that he created, but like that willingness to, because I mean, think about the hours he put into becoming what we know as Prince.
Yeah.
Like, going through learning to play. He was an amazing guitar player.
Yeah, the vault of music that he has is just endless too.
So you look at that, but then he not only learned all of that, he learned the business and the backside enough to be able to go in and restructure that and beat people at their own game.
Yeah.
And when I think of Prince, I just think of a winner.
Yes.
And I admire people who win.
Of course. Especially you go out your way to find new ways to win, especially when you're getting screwed too.
Yeah.
A lot of people can, there's so many, and I'm around rappers too. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that we keep in our mind is that we have to be able to own our stuff and not sell our likeness away, like we talked about earlier, just for that bomb dollar.
Yeah.
Just for that.
Another guy that I didn't appreciate until later in life was Master P.
Oh, yeah. He's a businessman to the core.
Well, and he learned what the game really was. And, growing up, did you ever watch VH1 Behind the Music? You can still get them online.
Ooh, yes, a little bit.
So there's like the arc of every major band. Like,
yes.
Hey, we were young. We were living out of a van. We were doing this, that, and we were playing small clubs. And we got discovered, and we hit it big, and we did a bunch of drugs, and we had a bunch of sex, and then everything collapsed, and now we're on a reunion tour. And like that was every episode of every rock band ever, right? And so like to go back and for Master P to be able to look past that and go, no. This is a business.
Yeah,
we're selling music. There's an image, but like that ownership is everything, and wisdom, right? Like,
yes, sir.
To go back like that was incredibly wise, and he not only realized it, but he taught that to everyone that came through his label. And like I just wasn't my brand of music. The it wasn't my thing. It wasn't until 15 or 20 years later when he became a sports agent, and I I was able to appreciate the business prowess.
You know, he was in the NBA for a little bit too.
What?
Yeah, he was in the NBA.
I did not know that.
I think he played for the Knicks. I could be wrong, but yeah, he played a little bit, and he was pretty good at ball.
Yeah.
I think it was the Knicks. Don't hold me to it. Raptors. Sorry. Yeah, he played for the Raptors for a little bit. I don't know how long ago, but yeah, crazy.
It don't matter if you make it to a place where they actually hand you a uniform. Like
insane.
You made it.
But yeah, no, I'm glad that you brought that up, and also it kind of ties into the AI information stuff. He was a big proponent of warning people like you can use the internet, don't let it use you. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I like how everything just kind of ties back to what he said. But yeah,
it's
full
all
circle
part of a bigger whole.
Of course. Well, I appreciate you.
Dude, I love you to death, man.
Yes, sir. I love you too, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time to be here, and I would definitely like to have you on next time again.
Whenever you want, man. I take it as a compliment that you'd want to sit down and talk with me this long.
Of course, man. I'm glad. Well, we haven't had coffee in a while, so I guess this is going to fill in right here.
I offered to bring you coffee, bro.
Yeah, I'm not a coffee guy, so I'll stick with my water.
You're good. You're good.
Sir.
Stay hydrated. Eat your carrots.
Yes, sir. I'm doing Ramadan too, so.
Oh, rock and roll.
Yeah, but I'm kind of cheating. I'm still drinking, so.
Yeah, daylight hours, bro.
Yeah, that's all I'm doing though. That's
okay.
it.
All right.
But speaking of that, what time is it? I get to eat after this.
Get after it.
But is there anything that you want to share with the viewers? Anything that you want to close anything off?
I don't know.
The podcast off.
The one piece of advice I always leave people with is only take advice from people who have what you want.
Yes, sir.
Everybody has an opinion, and it doesn't make them all good ones. So, like,
that's true.
Be very careful who you take advice from, and make sure that you are taking advice from people that have actual production, like they've actually done the thing.
Yeah, indeed. My papa used to tell me. He said, "Everyone has opinions. They're like assholes. They all stink."
Yeah, they all stink. My grandpa used to always say, "Opinions are like elbows and assholes. Everybody's got them. Nobody needs to hear about yours."
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
But thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Absolutely, dude.
Of course. Well, episode 32. I appreciate you guys tuning in. What you learned here today is self-awareness. That's what Mine is about. That's why we have these conversations, is to lift consciousness and find some self-awareness within ourselves and converse about it and be better people once we leave from this conversation.
Outstanding.
So, yes, sir. But appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir. We out.
Peace.